Welcome to That Card Collectors Podcast with your host, Ian Taylor.
A good day to you all. Welcome to That Card Collectors Podcast. My name is Ian. I'll be your host for the next hour, however we converse for today. Joining me on the podcast this week is Josh.
What it is.
And I'm very excited to speak to this young man. He's a bit of a legend in the hobby. I'm not sure you're aware of how much of a legend you are, Mike. But when I told Keith you were coming on, Keith kind of had a little bit of a what's the best way to nerdgasm is probably
Right.
the way I'm gonna go.
And moment of appreciation of your efforts.
He did.
Peripherally aware.
Good. Anyway, joining us this week is Mike Inguagiato. Hopefully I got that right.
Yep.
Am I allowed to out your EPAC name on here as well?
I mean, I've got it on the screen, essentially.
You have got it on the screen. Yes, exactly. You may know him as McKell on EPAC. And at this point, a whole section of listeners go, oh, it's that guy.
We found him.
Oh, boy.
It's that guy. Welcome, Mike.
Yes. Xyon McKell is my my name on socials and for the blog.
Okay.
And obviously, I use the shortened version on EPAC that,
yes,
as you point out, a bunch of people probably know me by.
Yeah. Right. Well, the obvious first question for me then is, where does because I've got a nickname. I'm sure other people have got nicknames for me, but I've got a nickname that springs from when I was at college. I won't go into it right now, but your nickname, not nickname, your kind of username, where does that come from that you use?
To be honest, the Xyon, I don't remember where it came from. It was just a name I liked when I was putting things together. The McKell is very specifically after a character from my favorite book.
Oh, okay.
So the main character of The Icarus Hunt by Timothy Zahn is Jordan McKell.
Oh, okay.
And 20 years ago when I first started using this, I took that name.
Gotcha. Is that kind of when you discovered the wonderful world of the internet? Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Fair enough.
We're talking a long time ago here.
Yeah.
I don't remember if the name. I'm pretty sure I started using the name on socials pre-blog. Well, I definitely started using the name on socials several years pre-blog because I didn't start the blog until like 2015.
Okay. All right.
Which is still an awfully long time. I can't believe it's been 10 years.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we all had hair back in those days, I'm sure, or a lot more of it. So, Mike, whereabouts in the world are you? Where are you joining us from? I know you told us before we recorded, but just so that people know whereabouts you are.
Yeah, sure. I am just outside New York City.
That doesn't mean that people can go around and rob you. So we didn't get any more specific there.
Right.
Because
the museum is closed.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I've had people before at the end of when they've listened to episodes going, "Oh, where's he live?" Because we're planning a road trip. Specifically, when we did the episode about Mr. Fuxham, which is that episode's gaining some infamy because I believe it's the only time he's spoken on any content about his collection.
This will be the first time for me. I recently did my first podcast ever, but it was a wrestling related podcast, not card.
Oh wow! Okay.
So this will be the first time talking about cards in my collection.
Okay. Okay. So long time listener, first time caller kind of vibe, yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Because I don't know if you remember, Josh, but Mike used to drop on quite a lot of when we were live, pretty much exclusively for about that year. Mike was often in the chat. So you've already mentioned it. So you've got a blog that you've shared a couple of posts in the Facebook groups. The one I'm thinking of most is the one that you did about printing plates, and you showed some
Mm.
gorgeous examples. But how did because you cover a load of stuff in that blog. I mean, you gave me a brief rundown on your message last night. But where did the blog start? Where did you come to that?
For a lot of years, I'd had it in the back of my mind to just start writing about my hobbies and just to share, and what so forth. I, like all of us, I invest a lot of time into my hobbies, and I have a lot of them, and really, I just want to talk about them. And when I finally got around to it, I think I started by writing about that year's Japan Society Film Festival. New York City's Japan Society does a yearly film festival where they feature Japanese films. And I think I just finally got down to it, and the first few things I wrote about were the movies I saw at the film festival that year. And then later that year, I made my first ever trip to Japan.
Wow!
And I wrote a lot about the wrestling shows I saw over there, and etc. And then it, I'm a big gamer, so then I started writing about video games and board games that I play, it's my personal blog, so like I do not feel constrained by really anything in terms of content. So like I see an art show and I want to talk about it, it goes in the blog. I enjoy something I want to share with people, it goes in the blog, and it's really nice that way that there's no constraint. And as far as the card stuff goes, I have shared a few with the group. Obviously, I only share. I forget if it when I was first going to share something to the group, if it was you or one of the other admins at the time that I talked about, and they basically, rightfully said it should have a fair amount of Marvel content, obviously, to be shared in MCCW. So I have shared there the printing plates. I did a spotlight on printing plates. I did another few insert specific spotlights, other metal cards, comic cuts, and mini cards. And I think those all got shared in the group. And then I've done a lot of artist spotlights. A lot of my collecting I do is sketch card centered, and I do follow certain artists. Some of the artist spotlights I wrote did not get shared to group because I don't have much Marvel content of theirs, or I wrote it, when all I had was stuff from other sets. But I've written about Lidi Lee, Miki Okazaki, Sean Pence, Achilles Kokonakis, and I hope I got somewhere close on his name.
You did, yeah.
I've written about Jury Chinchilla several times. And I've also written some card set specific spotlights, several about the Japanese women's wrestling set I collect, and several about Perna Studios collector sets.
So that immediately I'm thinking, wow, that's niche. Japanese women's wrestling.
Absolutely.
So I'm intrigued. I think it's fairly safe to say.
Well, I'm glad, because it's going to come up a lot and intersect with the cards in several ways.
Oh wow! Okay,
so we will be talking about it.
Okay, well,
Nice.
let's before we we'll get into it. But before we do, I will say to everyone that the link to Mike's blog is in the show notes. So whether you're listening to this,
I didn't actually say the name. The blog is Derailments of Thought.
Yes, that's right. I remember it, but I couldn't remember it. If that makes sense.
I
As soon as
meant
you
to
said it, I was
before
like,
I got into content, and then I just didn't.
yeah. So we'll put that in the show notes. So it'll be on show notes if you're listening to it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or it should be there in your app. You'll see it when you click on the show info, or it will be on YouTube. And please don't forget to like and subscribe, because it really helps us out.
Yes, please.
And
Plug
thank you
over.
so much for sharing those links.
Oh, no, I haven't
Yeah,
done it yet.
absolutely.
Don't thank me yet. But yes, they will be. So, right. Well, let's circle neatly back to Japanese women's wrestling, because I
Yes.
didn't even. Why would I think such a thing existed? Why would I think such a thing wouldn't exist? It's just that I've never spent time thinking about
That's fair.
wrestling I've thought about, women I've thought about, women's
Yes.
wrestling I've thought about, maybe a little bit in my life, but never really Japanese women's wrestling. So tell me, where does that come on, and where does it intersect cards and bring you on your journey to us today?
Sure. So I'm a wrestling fan from when I was little. I used to watch then WWF and WCW at the time.
Who's your favorite?
From back then, Bret Hart.
Old Bret Hart. Awesome. Okay.
Mr. Perfect.
Okay.
Roddy Piper.
Yeah. Growing up around that time, that was everything. Undertaker was like life-changing watching that stuff.
Yes.
I couldn't, my mind was blown. Every WrestleMania or Hell in the Cell. Couldn't believe it. Loved it.
Yeah. Are you familiar at all nowadays?
I stay up a little bit. I try to stay current. Ever since the merger, since the two blended, I haven't been as involved.
So the connection to Japanese women's wrestling will circle around to a couple names you probably know then. Okay. So college and stuff, I was on and off. I kind of a lot of my hobbies became less, not gone, but less. Comics, wrestling and so forth. And then I got back into a lot of them later on. And I want to say somewhere a couple years before 2010, I started going to live wrestling shows kind of for the first time ever, local shows and indies and so forth. Through Ring of Honor, I was introduced to a U.S. women's wrestling promotion called Shimmer. And Shimmer would bring in people from all over the world. I really loved the company. I found a lot of favorite wrestlers there. And specifically, when they started bringing in the Japanese women's wrestlers, who will often be referred to in English shorthand as Joshi wrestlers. Joshi is a Japanese word for girl, basically, and women's wrestling over there is Joshi Pro-Res. Wow. I became a big fan of several of them, and started to get into their home companies. There are a lot of small women's wrestling companies over in Japan in general, but a lot based in the Tokyo area. And then when I finally got after a few years of that, and seeing them going to Shimmer shows and seeing some of the guest wrestlers and stuff, when I made my first trip to Japan, I got to go. It was a very wrestling centric trip. I was going with other fans. I saw something like 15 shows in a week and a half.
Wow.
And the vast majority of them were fantastic, and I became a huge fan of numerous wrestlers and the companies over there, and that has continued for the last decade. Like I said, it's a lot of what I write about in the blog. The photo display behind me is actually pictures with wrestlers that I've gotten over the years. Again, not
Cool.
anything we need to,
That's fab. Sorry, carry on. I'm just looking at it. That's why I make it big on the screen so I can have a look at it.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was going to be visible much, and then I kind of saw it over my shoulder. But yeah, those are all pictures with various wrestlers, and in fact, going back to current WWE and so forth, Julia's actually in there.
Okay.
Okay.
Julia, who is currently holds a title in WWE, started in a Japanese promotion called Ice Ribbon. That is one of my favorites, and one that I was at a lot during the times that she was there. So a company called BBM, Baseball Magazine, is one of the big sports card producers over in Japan, and they do a yearly set that used to be called True Heart, and now is just called BBM Women's Wrestling. And a vast majority of the women's wrestling companies over there participate in the set, and it's a yearly set that that covers those participating promotions. It's a really great set. It's one of the few sets I actually collect. I'm primarily more of a individual card collectors, things that catch my eye, characters, artists, etc. But I got into those sets, and I went back a few years, and I've been collecting those sets for about 10 years now. And when I got into it, there were still like past years available. So my actual collection of those sets is about 15 years. So that was one of the things that got me back into cards, was getting into that that card set, tying to my Joshi wrestling hobby. It's a really nice set. It's interesting the ways that it's a bit different from say what Upper Deck does with AEW and things like that. It's and they are starting to run into some production issues with the way they do things. So it'll be interesting to see. They don't have a set base set size. It's however many wrestlers are participating.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah.
They make room, and eventually they're not going to be able to do that because there's a lot.
Right. The roster will be too big.
Right. Nowadays there are two major companies that don't participate. No, three now major companies that don't participate that have somewhat sizable rosters. And even with that, the base set was like 160 cards this year.
Wow.
So whereas Upper Deck's AEW set, they have 100 card base set, and if some people get left out, they put them in inserts, or they're just not there that year, or what's
they're following format.
Right. So it's cool. Again, I don't know how long they can keep it up, and this year they had some issues because the other thing they do is they take all new photography for the cards.
Gotcha.
Which is also really cool. They have the wrestlers come in to take portraits for the cards. And
I've just gone down a Google image rabbit hole, by the way, while you've been talking. And my goodness, this is an eye opener. Lordy, the autograph cards look wonderful that are coming up on the search.
And I grabbed a couple random ones.
Oh, here we go. Hang on a minute. Let me put
wow.
this on the screen.
Actually, let me take this out of the.
Yeah, share that again. They look lovely.
That's actually really nice.
That's a really nice looking card.
They do a great job with these, really. And I love the set so much.
Your signature's nice too.
Yes,
yeah, that one's awesome.
They do. Here's an example. I'm blocking my own face with this, so it's hard to tell if it's in frame.
That's nice.
This is an example of a base card. And just they look They look really good.
Yeah,
I got another auto here I can show you.
Oh, that's nice. That's clean.
Yeah,
right.
That's clean.
yeah, they
Does look good.
do. And I it's weird because I seem to be at a loss for words because it really, I just want to say the cards are nice.
Yeah.
No,
No. Well, if that's what you want to say, that we get the idea.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're clean and they seem to have really put a lot of work into making it nice and clean, bright and vibrant, and the signatures are killer because of this.
Oh. One of the Google images I was looking at has got these wonderful autograph cards, and I've just suddenly realised it's lifted it from your blog. So it's your image that I'm looking at on Google
Wow.
Images. That's
More
hilarious.
promotion.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
you've done all right on
I
your
do feature these.
yeah. You've done very well on your search engine optimization there.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I can see some of them are in Japanese text as well, the autos, which I think looks beautiful.
It looks great. It makes for an awesome auto.
Yeah, and the signature cards are the main insert.
Gotcha.
Lately, the last few years, they have a couple of. They do a foil subset for certain wrestlers. 9 cards, and there'll be a few of those in a box, and they do what they call secret cards, which are usually there's like 10 to 15 of them. They pick certain wrestlers, and they'll do alternate outfits, sometimes plain clothes and stuff like that, and they'll number them the same as the base card.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So it which can be tough for collating and searching sometimes, but it's, the idea is it's a secret alternate card of their base, so they give it the same number. Then the signatures are the big thing. In the past, they used to be about 5 to a 20-pack box, so the odds were really good. Most of the participating wrestlers sign about 100 of them. This is a great image to throw up. The upper left corner. Oh, the red one, yeah. That is a wrestler named Makoto. That's the lower left, right?
This one here. Where are we?
Yeah.
Sorry, this is great audio for people, but get yourself to YouTube and like and subscribe while you're there. So I like the one in the little kind of the cutesy little outfit, top right, as I'm looking at it.
She is great. She is highly amusing.
That's hilarious, and that it's that kind of thing that Japanese culture does, where it often finds its way there somehow.
And this image shows, obviously, for anyone listening who happens to be familiar with women's wrestlers, Aja Kong, who is a legend, just a huge name. That is the upper left. That is actually one of the auto subsets. They do special. Those will be limited to like 30 copies or something like that. Next to her, I believe that is Momoko Hanazono. And I'm sure off memory, I just screwed up her name, and people are going to give me grief because I'm actually a big fan of hers. The lower left is Makoto.
Okay.
And the lower right is Mochi Natsumi, formerly Mochi Miyagi.
Wow.
And this is actually kind of a great cross section of wrestlers, because it shows everything from the legendary badass.
Can I ask?
Cutesy underdog.
Have they tailored the card to a color match on the outfit? It looks bottom left like she's in red and black, and this bottom right, and then the top right.
Sometimes they do pick the colors for the base background based on their gear.
Yeah,
they don't always match up perfectly, but a lot of times you'll see that. And Yeah, it looks
really
fantastic.
complements the image. Yeah.
When it does that.
The one on the bottom left is just that's awesome. That's a nice touch.
Yeah, I agree. It's really striking.
I'm not going to lie, the top left one's scaring me, so I might have to stop sharing the image in a moment.
That is the most intimidating and legendary wrestler still active by far. And yes, she is very scary.
Yeah, I was going to say you wouldn't have any cardio attacks if she was around, would you? Crikey. Okay.
So the signature cards are the big chase in those sets. The other main kind of super chase are called checkies. They are mini Polaroids.
Oh, that's a cool idea.
And a lot of they're autographed. A lot of the wrestlers also decorate them. And the participating wrestlers will generally have about 10 in the set. They used to be a pretty consistent 3 to a case, so about 1 in every 4 boxes. They've dropped down to 2 a case in recent years. Which you guys know, card collecting and card odds. That's actually a really big shift.
Yeah.
Having a chance of getting one in, or a 50-50 chance of getting one in a couple boxes is much different than a 1 in 3 suddenly going to 1 in 3 chance of getting one in a couple boxes.
Here we go. I think I found another image from your blog. In fact, most of Google Images seem to be lifting quite nicely.
This works out great.
But let me just show you what I think is one of those cards that you were just talking about. Where is it? Here.
Yes.
One of the Polaroid
exactly
ones.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And those are kind of the super chase of the set.
That's really sweet.
It's really cool. It's they're not technically cards, but it's a card-like thing, and they're an official part of the card set.
Right.
Wow.
And they're really fun because clearly they're all unique because it's literally a Polaroid.
They can mess around with the background and the
poses, and they get so silly.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Right. And they're numbered on the back as for the set. So this might be, number 7 of 10 that Saran did for the set. And they get really creative because there's really, with the cards and the SIG cards and stuff, they're in their gear, posing, and the cards look fantastic. When you get to the checkies, they can do whatever they want.
That's wonderful.
One of the Hikaru Shida, who is might be familiar with some people because she's part of the U.S. company AEW. She's multi-time champion there. One year she posed with her Nintendo Switch.
That's cool.
Yeah, because she's a big gamer. She's doing
that's
a lot of
a cool card.
now. Yeah, and stuff like that. So so there's a lot of cool things like that that sneak into there. And some of those you saw a little bit with the one you put up there. There are some people that decorate theirs even more heavily.
Wow. Okay.
And those can be fun to kind of chase down.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of the first way that Joshi Wrestling obviously heavily collects to my card collecting. These sets are a big part of my collection. I have, particularly of my favorite wrestlers, I try and get, if I can, one of their signature cards every year. So my collection of those is getting extensive.
Wow.
Because as I said again, there's on average 150 wrestlers participating in these sets.
Yeah.
Clearly, I'm not trying to get signature cards from all of them every year, but
there's a group. There's a Facebook group Japanese Joshi wrestling trading card collectors.
Yes.
Mhm.
Look at this. Google's telling me there are Reddit threads, multiple Reddit threads about this. This is
Yeah,
a whole scene.
it's a niche hobby, but it is.
Yeah, there's some
It's
fans
not
out there.
yeah.
Right.
There are foreign fans that are heavily into it. Not insignificant number of us.
Ooh, okay.
Mike, how are you storing these base? Are you boxing the base sets and then doing the autos in the in binders, or because it just sounds
Um,
like a lot of volume?
since it's the only set I really collect,
Okay,
I'm actually able to do binders
for everyone.
for the
Nice.
set.
Okay,
Although I have a lot of that might change in the future because I have a lot of like Marvel cards and other character based stuff that are in boxes
Hmm,
that are probably more suited to the binders. So some of the older Joshi sets might swap place with them at some point. But
gotcha.
I have a number of the bound in binders
Oh yeah.
where the pages are pre-bound and side loading and zipper. And obviously those are most important for the SIG cards and other subsets that I'm sure we'll talk about. But as of right now, I do have the BBM women's wrestling base sets with their chase inserts in that type of binder as well. And I have
Wow.
like 6 of them now. Each binder holds like
Oof.
2 or 3 years.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Those binders can get pretty. I've got some Rayvol ones that I ordered from the States last year, and they hold a lot, but they are chunky things when you get them on the
I
shelf.
think the
Mhm.
ones I use for those hold about 480 cards.
Right. Gotcha.
And as I said, it's a little difficult with these particular sets because they vary in size each year.
Yeah,
So it's not like, oh, I know a binder is going to hold exactly 3 sets every year. I don't actually.
Mm.
um,
So okay, so they do a release per year, and you collect that. So where does that connect? Where does that connect with where I kind of first encountered you, EPAC, and specifically Marvel? You were going after. So where did you mentioned earlier on that you were used to be into comics? So I imagine that's where you might have gone into Marvel cards. Would that be a fair assumption to make?
yes and no. Yes, I collected Marvel cards when I was a kid via the comics. And that was great. I mean, that was the era of 92 masterpieces and the Jim Lee X-Men set. I really loved those cards and collecting those. I fell out of card collecting, again around college and early adulthood and stuff. Surprisingly enough, while I did still read comics and stuff, I did not get back into Marvel cards through comics. It was kind of a multi-step process that, of all things, started with anime. So for a number of years, I regularly went to anime conventions. And I really enjoyed Artist Alley. And at one of the conventions, I got, I always got some commissions of various artists and stuff. And I got a commission of some of my favorite video game characters from an artist who did such a great job that at subsequent cons, I would always seek her out and get more, commissions and so forth. The artist's name is Juri Chinchilla.
Ah,
Yeah. And to this day, she is my absolute favorite artist. I collect a ton of her stuff. And at some point, because I was following all her socials and the like, she featured some cards she was going to be doing for a company called Perna Studios. And that kind of reintroduced me to the non-wrestling side of card collecting again. I got into the Perna Studios set.
Nice.
For people that don't know, Perna Studios, Tony and Elaine Perna, both artists. Although I think Elaine is stepping back from the sets in the company nowadays. But they produce these fantastic little collector sketch-based sets.
Love that.
Yeah, based around things like classic mythology, fairy tales, all that type of stuff.
Halloween, witches, monsters, you
oh
name
yes,
it.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm so glad you mentioned Halloween. Halloween is one of their biggest sets.
Yeah.
They've done like 5 of them now.
Yeah.
And they have all kinds of fantastic
And
artists.
Hallows Eve, the black and white one, that was good.
Yes. I have some Perna cards in grabbing distance. I'll have to see if I have any Hallows Eve. But so they do these great sets. The base sets are generally like 10 to 15 cards. And there's a couple different ways to get them, a very limited release when they do them. And you're basically guaranteed a sketch in every, they call them packs and sets, depending on what purchase option you're doing. But basically in every pack that you get has a sketch card.
Gotcha.
And the sets are just fantastic. So like through Jury, I discovered those sets. And I'd like to talk more about those in a second, but to complete the thought, a few years pass and I'm collecting that stuff, and I'm kind of back into card collecting between the wrestling and the Perna sets and some other spin-off stuff. And once again, I see Jury post about some sketch cards that she had just done for a Marvel product called Black Diamond.
Oh,
boy,
and
oh
she
boy.
mentions that she's not sure, but since she's not on the checklist, she thinks they are an EPAC exclusive. To which I responded something along the lines of, "What's an EPAC?" And that's what did it. I got onto EPAC specifically for her sketch cards, and to get into that product for that reason, and it all snowballed from there. Because the Marvel cards, there's some really cool stuff happening. Like I got very interested in the printing plates. I thought those were really cool, and through various other sets. I did a lot of achievement hunting and and got cool stuff that way. But it's funny because I was still, well, not still, but like I was on and off reading comics, and fans of these characters, but it wasn't the comics themselves that got me back to the cards. It was kind of other cards.
gotcha.
But then once I was, obviously all my favorite characters and stuff, there's just so much cool things to explore and collect and the like. So that's how it collected back to how it got back into Marvel. There are a couple more steps down that path to how it connects back to wrestling. I don't know if you want to go with that, if you want to talk about the Perna stuff first, or if there's any questions you had Obviously, we can get to all of it. But
I'm just fascinated by the connective tissue of McKell here. This is fascinating. I mean, Perna's. Sorry, carry on.
I was just going to say because I collect so many different things,
Yeah.
and I don't have like much like binding me. Like I'm not really completionist about much, and I'm not like, oh, that's the most gorgeous sketch card I've ever seen, but I don't collect that character. I don't care. It goes in the collection.
Yeah.
So because of that, all my hobbies overlap a lot, and they end up crossing, which is really cool and interesting, or at least I find it so.
It is. I mean, Perna's. I mean, they're gorgeous people. I was lucky enough to meet them last year.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, well, it's funny enough. It's when we went through Niagara, we were talking about before we started recording. They met my wife, my daughter, and I for lunch, and then they took us down to see the falls. So it was
that's fantastic.
Give us
really
the local
cool
flavour. Yeah, no, they're lovely people. Tony, if you're listening and or watching, I'm just going to say to you one word: parsnip. He'll know what that means. Yeah. Anyway, he knows. He knows. But anyway,
welcome to the Inside Joke Podcast.
Well, I might have to get you to do the voiceover intros. Give that Greg guy a flick.
That intro song was fantastic.
Yeah, that's the new one. It is pretty funky, actually. So. Josh, I need to send you a link to that so you can download it, so you can kind of have it. It's only a 20-second thing, but you could get it on loop and go for a run. That kind of thing. Yeah,
I can dial in the details and
calories. You can. Yeah. So, but Tony and Elaine, so the Perna sets. I mean, I don't go. It's a weird one. This I've decided to offload most of them, and that's no shade to the sets. I've I've only got a finite amount of space, and I've decided to just to trim back on things that.
How often do they release?
They usually do about 2 a year, I think.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty good.
And as Mike said, you get in a pack you get the full base set, one chase card and one sketch, basically.
I like that.
But
that makes it easy.
Yeah, and they've been going for like 15 years easy now, because I think some of the earlier ones I've got 2010, 2011 on them. But I had the bind. They made 2 binders, one for the Halloween cards and one for the kind of creatures. And so you can actually, because the binders are so big, you can fit pretty much their entire back catalogue into those 2 binders so far. Although obviously they'll get past that point. What I've decided to do is I'm just keeping the promos from each set, which is actually a really nice little take. I'm much more kind of, I've got stacks of promos here. I collect promos anyway, but for me that's kind of like having a little taste of the set without having to own loads of stuff,
because they do again, for people that don't know, they do basically about 3 card promo for each set.
But it's the metal ones they've started doing in the last few years. They're just their choice. They really are. We did an episode, I think about a year ago, on printing plates, or on metal cards full stop. So we were talking about printing plates and the Perna ones, and I think I remember showing some. I can't remember if you were on that one, Josh.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Perna.
I was in the that was during the YouTube time, so I was in the comments of that. We were going back and forth a little bit.
That's right. I don't know who their vendor is for the metal cards that they do, but they are phenomenal. They're really, really, really clean, and the vibrancy of them is something else.
I've got. Oh, I was about to say I've got one on hand to show, and I happened to grab. The reflection's going to be hard to deal with here.
And it's just they've dialed in the process to get the image so vibrant.
They are stunning.
This actually is not a Perna Studios card.
Oh, interesting.
This one is from Iconic Creations.
That's Achilles Kokonakis. Yeah.
Yeah. And now I've got an actual Perno one to pop up from their classic fairy tale set.
Oh, look at that!
And yeah, the
That
metal
is just-
cards are really gorgeous.
The vibrancy of the
They
colors.
do a
just,
great,
yeah.
and
a
it's
great job with these.
Yeah, it's very vibrant, very strong edges. It's clean. The cut is
Yes.
beautiful. It's durable.
Yeah, that's a great thing to mention. And I wouldn't have necessarily
Yeah.
remembered to do so. The cut is fantastic.
Right. And the temperatures on it's such a fine art to get it to that point where you can gain as much vibrancy out of the color spectrum, but not overdo it and you can actually burn the image a little bit and some other things involved there. So having messed around with it slightly myself, I can really appreciate how they're able to knock that out of the park. It is. But when it's executed properly, it is so difficult to do on a mass scale.
Yeah.
The machines that exist, it doesn't matter if you're Batman, it is really difficult to get that high a quality in the image on a large scale to produce a lot of cards like that. And so I love it all around because it makes it exclusive. There's not a lot of them around, and they're going to last forever. They're very well protected. So that's just gorgeous.
Yeah, and Iconic Creations has done some other really interesting stuff that I want to talk with you guys about. First, this one's for you, Ian.
Oh, hang on a minute. Let me make it big on the screen. Let's have a look at this. Oh, wow.
This is a jury ghost from Halloween.
That's lovely.
Been talking about that set.
Yeah.
That set with the black and white, the cards jump right out. This is
Elementals.
Achilles Kokonakis from Elementals. So yeah, the printer sets, the themes are just so classic, and the artist can really, there's a lot of room for them to do interpretive stuff that looks gorgeous. So there's just a lot of really, really cool stuff. Alice in Wonderland.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, this was actually an AP.
Nice.
That
with
I got
with the cards cascading in the background.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
That's really cool.
The details that Jury puts into her art and the way she frames things and stuff is one of the reasons that I heavily collect her stuff and that I love her art so much. Spinning off a little bit, I've done one of the other rabbit holes we're going to get to. This is a PSC that I had gotten from Jury. This is for any video game fans. This is from Persona 3.
Okay.
And so a while back, Jury had commissioned made,
that's nice.
not commissioned, a batch of like 200 PSCs that she was going to, have available for commissions and stuff. And she does not do generally do card commissions nowadays. Just rare occasions when she has some that she'll make available. Probably partially because she did so many, in that period where she had 200 made and was doing constant batches. But I had commissioned some from her, and the first couple batches were kind of standard video game and comic book related. I finally got to get some of my favorite characters. She did a bunch of fighting game characters for me. She did Supergirl and Stephanie Brown Batgirl from DC for me. Kasumi and Ayane from Dead or Alive. I was about to say Psylocke and Emma, but I think that was actually a set AP
Gotcha.
and not a PSC. But that type of stuff, I got a lot of that type of stuff. And in the second batch that I got from her, I had kind of a weird idea, and I asked if she would be up for doing a PSC of one of my favorite wrestlers. And she was game for it. And it came out so good that all my subsequent batches I got from her, I got of wrestlers.
Nice.
So this is kind of where it comes back into the cross
Gotcha.
contamination of the hobbies. So I had talked to her about reserving a chunk of those PSCs with the understanding that she was doing batches of 4 or 5 cards at a time, and that there would be significant time in between batches, as she did other people's batches and other projects and so forth. So, it could be, 6 months to a year, whatever. But I was totally cool with that. And she was too. So I was able to get, kind of get in line and get reserved more sketch cards for the future. And I slowly, through that, basically built up a collection of sketch cards from her of a good number of my favorite wrestlers. And I'll show some of these in a second. And then when she was wrapping up, commissions and so forth, it so happened that another artist that I really, really like, who also no longer does sketch card commissions, was doing sketch card commissions, and I touched base, and a very similar thing. I'm like, would you be interested in doing PSCs of wrestlers for me? And I had these examples of the ones that Jury had done, so I could say I'm just looking for pretty much exactly what you would do with comic book characters, but with professional wrestlers. And she was game, and that artist was Miki Okazaki. So I have a number from her as well in this collection. And then the third artist that I have completed cards from for this collection, that again came a little bit later, is Veronica O'Connell.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And so this is, the collection now, through all of that, is somewhere between 50 and 60 cards. And it is this, just this really cool little intersection of my various hobbies. They all did a fantastic job, capturing the wrestlers. I'm very, when I get sketch card commissions, I'm kind of very careful about kind of matching up artists whose styles I think will be good for the subjects I'm requesting and what so forth. So obviously they're all very different. These 3 artists, Jury works in colored pencil, and there's a soft vibrancy to her stuff. Miki stuff, very stylized, vibrant in kind of a different way. Veronica's stuff is almost photorealistic. Her sketch cards that she's done for me, I've sent to friends, and they're like, I thought these were pictures before I opened them up.
That's cool.
But they all did a fantastic job, and so it's become this really cool little almost centerpiece of my collection, and something that's totally unique.
Yeah.
I think, there are other collectors who have wrestling inspired art, and actually some of the art I have, there is a Filipino professional wrestler who wrestles for a Japanese company. So she lives in Japan. She's a part of Ice Ribbon, which I had mentioned earlier. She is also an illustrator. So I actually have a fair bit of art from her, of drawing, like the other roster members and what so forth. And there are other collectors who have various different wrestling related art and stuff. To my knowledge, I think I'm the only one that's really done sketch cards.
Gotcha.
Wow.
Wow.
So it is very unique. Josh, I had mentioned earlier, we would be coming around to where you might be aware of some names. One of my favorite wrestlers of all time is WWE's Asuka.
Yes.
And she is the only wrestler that I have had drawn by all three of the artists I have completed sketch cards from. And we'll start with juries.
Oh wow.
The amount of detail and the likenesses and what they can do on these tiny cards is why I love sketch cards and why they are my primary collector focus. It's just gorgeous. They knock these out of the park.
Yeah, the style of art is really great for this. It adds a lot of detail, but it still allows for the color vibrancy and that's awesome.
Yeah, and this is Miki's rendition of, obviously a different look, but the same wrestler. And again, it's stunning.
Yeah, the background's really nice.
Yeah.
The mask,
she did some
paint,
really cool things with the backgrounds and stuff. I have I don't remember if I grabbed it. I did not. She did. Oh, I did. Okay.
Because in your base cards and a lot of your stuff, you're not going to get the opportunity to have a card that's different like that with that looks like space background and other stuff like that. With these sketches, it just opens up the doors.
I didn't grab the particular card, but Miki did one for me where the wrestler poses with her arm out and her finger up, and like I'm doing right now, the pose ended with her hand not visible. So Miki put it into the shadow. So you can see the shadow in the background.
That
of
is
the pointed
cool.
Finger. It was so incredible. And such a great detail. And then this is the last Asuka, obviously Veronica O'Connell's version.
See, Josh, you're familiar with the subject in this one, yeah?
Yes, yeah. So
this is a wrestler, that you're aware of,
right? And it's just to catch the everything they do, because a lot of them sometimes they'll change, over the years. It's rare that they'll change their mask or their their uniform.
Whereas Asuka has different face paint
all the time, or your Rey Mysterio, icon swapped all those masks. And so that's like timestamp for us as like fans. If they ever, when Sting went to the his mask or his face paint and stuff. And, but for these sketch cards, the detail there, I mean, that's awesome. That's the hair, the
likeness. They did an incredible job with these. This is Asuka's tag team partner, Kairi Sane.
Yeah.
Another Veronica O'Connell.
Veronica O'Connell stuff is so nice. So nice.
I've been a huge fan for a long time of hers. Yeah. And like when I found out that she was actually available to do some commissions, I was so happy. This is one more wrestler that you might be familiar with. This is Miki Okazaki's rendition of Io Sky. She was recently the WWE Women's Champion.
And that's why they did those sky background.
Yep.
I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
She just did some really cool stuff. Just
Well
a couple
done.
more I'll throw up quick. This
And
is,
you have to imagine there's not a lot of these sketches out there. You have to be
No.
one of, you know what I mean, to have a collection of these types of sketches. So that just kind of
and
makes them more fun.
With sketch collectors, and I know of some other people who do this type of thing, and I hope there's more in the future. You know, you can pick a subject and curate your own little, you know, collection and what's so forth. Even, you know, some of the APs I got for the Perna sets. Sorry, and I put the card up just as you adjusted things again.
With the belt, with the championship.
Yes, and that's one of the reasons this is one of my favorite tag teams of all time, Tsukasa Fujimoto and Arisa Nakajima, and the fact that Jury was able to represent the belt. Again, this is a sketch card. This is, you know, they're working on a
beautiful,
you know, 2x4 inch
right.
Yeah,
3.5 by 2.5. It's not a lot of real estate. It really takes a lot for them to proportion it right.
And I'll show one more, and then we'll you know, we can get back to the audio stuff that people are listening to podcasts for. This is a kind of very special card that Veronica O'Connell did for me.
Yeah, that looks like a photograph.
It does. And it's absolutely gorgeous. This is a wrestler named Asahi who unfortunately passed away young. Beginning of 2024. She was a favorite of mine. I was at her debut match.
Oh wow!
In Japan, and this is just so stunning. The work that the Veron did and the card. It's just such a nice remembrance. So this is one of the most special cards in my collection.
Goodness! Wow. Okay.
Sorry for the slight, you know.
No.
Heaviness of topic. But,
that's fine. Listen, you clearly made your way to EPAC for Marvel Black Diamond. Marvel Black Diamond wasn't a cheap endeavor. As a first one to go into, I think I remember $350 a box. I think it was.
Yeah,
somewhere
around there. Started. Yeah.
So how deep did you go, and what was your kind of reaction to the price? Because I mean, I'm sure anything else after that was a bonus at the time in terms of price. Everything else seemed like a bargain. So what was your well? I guess first of all, did you hit a sketch card by Jury?
Several.
Okay, several. How much did you open?
Oh my god!
Oh my word! Okay.
I started kind of my achievement hunting right away with Black Diamond.
Wow.
And I did a ton of trading, and you know, and you mentioned how I've become well known. Well, part of it was because I was just trading constantly, and then for several sets afterwards, trying to help, you know, other people complete achievements, trying to, you know, and when you're doing achievements, it's especially when I got to like X-Men Metal and I was searching for some of the comic cover achievements and stuff, you're looking for the same cards over and over and over again. So you're doing tons of like side trades to get stuff that other people need to trade for that same card you've already traded for 7 times. And the like. So I opened a ton of Black Diamond, but I also traded a ton of it, you know, for achievement stuff for to curate the sketch cards into a collection that that I wanted. I think I have 3 of Drury sketch cards, four of Drury sketch cards from Black Diamond currently. I only opened one of those. The others I traded for, the ones I opened, and and back and forth, and things like that. And I have built a huge collection. I actually, my conditions are not what they were back then. I am getting into slimming down the collection, and I will be selling a lot of stuff.
Wow.
I will still have quite a nice collection, when all is said and done. But I do have like original art stuff, and I have some unusual cards and so forth that I will be looking for new homes for, and hopefully can get in the hands of other collectors. But yeah, so Black Diamond. See, I thought, and I didn't think this about all sets, but I thought Black Diamond was reasonably priced for what it was, and for the the huge autos that were in it, and the value of the cards you were opening on the aftermarket. It is expensive, it is sticker shock, but it's and with some of the other stuff I collect, there's definitely an understanding on my part of is this just expensive because it's expensive, or is there value here? And with Black Diamond, I felt there was value there. So
gotcha.
I was okay getting into things, for that.
I would agree. In fact, I've just gone back. I've done an email because I keep all my emails, basically, mainly because I'm lazy. And I've got and because I get EPAC to send me an email every time there's a trade. So I've found 2 that we've done in the past.
Oh wow!
The first one on the 4th of October in 2021. You probably remember it well. You received a trade from McKell. That was good. So I've clearly had the benefit of some of your Black Diamond stuff, and you've had some Marvel 80th anniversary comic clippings from me. So there we go. And then the second one was hello, Spider-Man Marvel Unbound base redeemed. No. What did you give me for that? Oh, you gave me one of the Diamond Polish Patch Jumbo achievements.
Nice.
Which I've still got, and I've got no idea how to store the things. I've got all 6 of them.
Same thing. They're in a pile in a little cabinet in the other room.
Yeah, and I don't know what to do because they're thick, so they won't go in any of the top loaders that size.
Storage for some of the unusual stuff. And this is actually a pretty good.
In fact, segue. I might offload them. They're that annoying. They've just sat in a pile for 4 years. I might sell them.
I have stuff like that. I have
they are odd sized.
I have this great oversized matte relic signed by CM Punk. Which in wrestling, that's he's one of WWE's current champions. He's a really big deal. But the thing is such an unusual size.
Yeah.
This jumbo match relic that I've got it sitting protected somewhere. I have no idea how to display it. I have no idea what to do with it. Right. And I might end up, like you said, I might end up selling it. Iconic Creations, which we had mentioned earlier, they did some really creative stuff with their sets and their kind of high-end purchase options, where they actually would send them in wooden boxes.
Oh, nice.
Decorated, and then later on they had like artist specific covers for the wooden boxes and stuff. And if you got one of those, one of the big benefits was you would get a oversized wooden sketch card.
Wow. That's cool.
And this is one of the ones I have.
Right, my jaw has just hit the floor. Let me just get that big on the screen.
All right.
Wow.
This is Achilles.
Hell's teeth.
Kanakis,
That's a wooden
Sherlock
sketch
Holmes.
card.
This is a wooden.
What's that? 5x7 at least.
Yeah.
And thick
and that's,
as well.
And it's thick. They're gorgeous. They're sturdy. They are really hard to figure out how to display. I've got some of these in like their own individual frames on the walls and stuff.
That's incredible.
But they're fantastic. I got another one to show you.
It even looks like the trim. Is the trim engraved?
Yes.
Like laser burnt. So that they laser engraved the trim on the card.
They are absolutely gorgeous. This is the Three Spirits of Christmas that Jury did for me for their iconic Christmas literature set. So yeah, that as far as like unique, oversized stuff goes, that's one of the coolest.
See, I've seen a few like that weren't that size. They weren't oversized, and they were done full laser with a grayscaling process.
Nice.
And it comes out really nice. It has a nice, unique feel for the wood because the wood grain carries through the image, and it still provides something really different. But I've never seen it done that way, where they just laser engraved the trim and the setup for the card, and then really hammered that image.
Iconic Creations also did regular card sized ones.
That is awesome.
With a little spot in the middle for the sketch.
Okay.
And it's and this is the type of stuff I like to seek out and get into the collection. Just these very unusual. And then speaking of very unusual, they did one more variation on a theme here. This is actually stitched, image of that sword on top of the wooden card.
Okay. Mike's address will be in the show notes as well if you want to go around and have a look at any of this stuff. His alarm system code is 319. Anyway, what have I just done? I've just pressed picture in picture by mistake. There we go.
Museum is closed.
Yeah. That phenomenal. You mentioned Psylocke and Emma Frost a while ago, and I do remember Emma Psylocke being something that I thought you collected. So have you got certain characters with Marvel, or was it just the ladies, or just what caught your eye, which is
all of the above?
Okay.
I focus on a lot of the Marvel ladies, and there are specific characters that I collect more than others. There are a number of the male characters that I do collect as well. It's interesting because, again, as I mentioned, I'm not really completist about anybody. So there are cards that just don't speak out to me. Sometimes my favorite characters, and I will let those go, or I'll the vast majority. Well, not the majority. The character I have more of than anybody else in my Marvel collection is Psylocke.
Gotcha.
Easily.
Okay.
Emma is probably second. Thanos is up there. I'm one of the big Thanos collectors, although
that was inevitable, I guess.
I'm more picky about his stuff. I tried to talk through the joke. I couldn't keep myself from laughing.
No, it's probably my face going, ah! I was more pleased with myself. Carry on.
I have a gorgeous comic accurate statue of Thanos sitting on his throne.
Oh wow!
Because again, I collect a lot of other things related to the hobbies. signed wrestling memorabilia, statues of comic characters. I've got Thanos. I've got a Psylocke, obviously. I have a really nice Bane. He's one of my favorite villains. He's one where he's a favorite villain, and I like his design, but his design is not particularly interesting on like a sketch card.
Mm-hmm.
So like he's one where he's a favorite character, but he's not someone I collect a lot of because I am hyper picky about his cards. Mr. Sinister, similar. I'm a huge fan. I do collect his cards. I have maybe 10 because I am so picky about that particular character. Whereas someone like Scarlet Witch would be about the same level for me, but I have a ton more of her stuff because, you know, a lot of I'm a little more forgiving with her, you know, renditions and the ways in which the cards look good with her on it versus, Sinister. Silk is another big one of mine.
Oh wow, okay.
And I have going back to the idea of curating nice little sub collections. Mystique mid transformation has become something that I've got some. I have a commission from Ash Gonzalez of Mystique as Psylocke. I have a comic cover commission from Miki Okazaki, Mystique as Silk. And I have some other cards along that vein. Obviously, they're very very unusual to come across, and hard to get when they happen in the wild. And then, as far as commissions go, it gets mixed in with all the other things I want to get commissions of when I can. And right now, I can't really afford to do art commissions, so we're talking stuff I've done in the past. But so a few of those worked into rotation, and the Mystique transforming. I've got a Megan Hetrick, Mystique as Emma, like a 5x7, absolutely nice. Gorgeous. So that's another. But yeah, the big characters for me are Psylocke, Emma, Thanos, Silk,
gotcha,
and Mystique. But it really there are also some lesser characters that I have just a few cards of, but like I am such a big fan of those particular cards. Like I love the character, and like those cards called out to me. Like I have 2 or 3 sketches of Armor that are just stunning, and Alcione Silva and Lady Lee.
Oh yes.
A couple of Spiral.
Okay.
That are absolutely stunning. Of all characters, I've got a couple of Strong Guy.
Okay.
And the Maestro.
It's all over the map.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's
a little bit
thing. Like I said, like if a sketch card calls out to me, so I've got some really great deep cuts in the collection.
I love it.
I feel like I've seen like one of those transformations you were speaking of. I feel like someone did a 3-stage one where it was like Rogue, Mystique, and it turned out to be Dupe at the end.
Ooh,
Dupe.
Yeah, it was like
that.
The beginning was, I think, Rogue, and then it was Mystique. So it made you think as you look down, it was Mystique that had been turning into Rogue, or vice versa. And then once you get to the bottom, you see that it's actually Dupe the whole time.
That's really great.
I'm trying to remember where I saw it, but yeah, someone just tried to hyper the transformation card.
This is one of the things I need to follow up on, but I got a commission done of connecting back to the wrestling stuff of Mystique as Asuka.
Okay.
Unfortunately, that piece was never delivered to me, so I need to I don't even I think the artist knows,
Okay.
because they use an agent. So that's something I have to
Yeah.
follow up on. But
Right, okay. Write that down.
yeah, I have a bad habit of putting that stuff off because I get so sidetracked with other stuff, and you know, I've got health issues that interfere in, you know,
Yeah.
my life and stuff, and then I procrastinate following up on unpleasant things, and you know,
Yeah. Happens.
I need to get to it, but in concept, that was one of the coolest things I've ever asked for, and that somebody agreed to draw for me.
Love it. I'm quite glad that you didn't go too deeply into Black Cat, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. But thank you for letting go of the Black Cat printing plate, and I can't even remember what set it was from. It might be Marvel Annual.
Probably.
That
That's
came my
most of
way
my
from
plates.
you. Yeah, so thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Because it's very, very comfortably at home in the other room. Probably with most of the other plates from that card, because I've managed to get a few like almost complete, if not
I
complete,
just
full
recently
plate sets.
worked out some deals and let go of most of my Havoc stuff to a big Havoc collector,
Okay.
and it again I got to slim the collection down, and he was great to work with, but it's cool to, you know, if I've got stuff that character collectors you know, that I'm willing to part with, if I can get into the hands, I mean, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's always cool if you can enrich someone else's collection.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's one of the biggest gifts that everyone has in the hobby, if they're willing to use it. So
Yeah,
so
when it goes
absolutely.
to, you know, that character collector is going to be, they're going to display it. It's going to get out there. It's going to get talked
Right.
about. They're going to put it on. And that's what you really want for the card. You know, you hope that it goes to the right place, and that can be the way it's treated. It gets exposed, not locked away for the end of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I even feel bad about like the amount of my stuff that's in binders.
Right. Right.
Well,
and
most of a lot of
I do
mine is or in
try and
drawer.
refresh my displays because I have a lot of stuff on the walls.
Yeah,
And
I see. I don't really have
some
display
nice,
space, but I'm also completely paranoid about light fade. So
Oh, sure.
I don't
Yeah.
know if I'd ever, you know, I mean, I genuinely don't really have any displayability stuff, but I don't have like a basement or, you know, a room
right.
where I could display stuff. You know, if I was going to display stuff, it would, you know, invariably be in a room that would hit like there's the window just up there. You know, at certain times of the year there was direct sunlight on this wall for quite a while, which is why I've not put anything on that wall. So you know, it's like,
Ian, I've received a lot of stuff that comes, especially if it's the you can buy supplies with Michael's and a few other places here for setting up or building some of your own displays, and they do sell a UV like transparency stuff. It adds a tiny little gloss for cameras pick it up and other stuff, but it's a film that can go right in a card slot or whatever else, and they're solid. They work.
yeah.
I've had some that's just had to be next to windowsills, unfortunately. And over like a few year period, it might smoke the protector, but it works as far as for protecting the card.
Okay.
And they come in large sheets, so you can put them for frames and
Well,
other
you
stuff
can
too.
cut them down.
Good
I mean,
to know.
Generally speaking, I just treat them like mushrooms. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm very happy with that. But yeah, it's a constant challenge, isn't it? Storage and display.
Yeah. I spend 90% of my waking hours here. So like I need stuff to look at. I need my stuff to be visible, and
Right.
Yeah. Well, it's important, you know. You've got to make sure your space is something that you feel comfortable in and has, you know, reflects your passions. So I can't, you know, I mean, just the limited stuff I can see behind you tells me that that's the way you roll. And
the walls are covered.
I think it's wonderful. Yeah, I think it's wonderful.
I got some really nice card displays. I've got that Miki Okazaki, and I'm pretty sure I've shown this display in the group. That Miki Okazaki comic cover I talked about, along like framed with 4 of my silk sketch cards. I think it's a Lady Lee, a Fred Ian, a Marcia Dye, and I forget what the fourth one I put in there was.
Marcia Dye is awesome.
Yes.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry. I woke up really. I had one of these mornings where I think I'm going to have a lie in. I'm going to have a sleep in. Could I sleep in?
I
No.
actually had one of hers
6:15.
on hand.
Awakes anything. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's her stuff is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
That was from one of Perna's sets, the classic mythology.
That's right. So what's next on the McKell journey then? Have you got any kind of exciting stuff coming up? Any commissions that you're planning? Any new kind of subsets, chase sets? Because obviously with EPAC chilling out on the Marvel side, have you been diving into the DC side, or have you been looking elsewhere, or just kind of glad from your wallet's point of view that it's over for a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit at that last one. I'm having some financial issues, to be honest, and I'm not really doing any buying right now.
Gotcha.
Not doing any commissions, although I have, when and if I get back to the point where I'm doing it again, I have some in mind. I would, I think she's still doing them. I'd love to get some more cards for that Joshi Wrestling collection from Veronica again, and things like that. I have some subsets that I would like to finish right now. It's from a trading point of view, and those are again things that I need to get around to. I've got an interesting kind of mostly finished personal quest going from the Shang-Chi set. One of my favorite characters, and I am not going to pronounce her name right. It's his sister.
Yes.
Zhao Li.
Yes.
And I'm a big fan of the character. I thought the actress did an amazing job. And little by little, I have all but one of her autographs in that set.
Oh, nice.
So, and I actually have like a blog entry, like half written about that.
Nice.
But the one I don't have is the duel with Simu. So like, $300-400 for that card is not in the budget right now. So I have to get, see if I can arrange a trade for that at some point.
I was going to say, you see,
and see what I can do.
Yeah, I'm sure you've still got some big guns on EPAC.
Well, there's only a few copies on EPAC.
Okay.
One of my good trade partners actually has a couple, but he doesn't really want to move the Simu autos right now, which I, totally understand. Maybe I can work out something from him in the future. Also, a lot of the big stuff I have to trade right now isn't in EPAC anymore. I sent a lot of stuff home, so that causes some logistical issues as well. But that's one of my grails, to finish up that interesting little, auto subset I managed to build, because they had some really nice variants in that set, and some of the achievements and stuff, like the patch autos and the, what they call them, the ink brush.
Yeah,
I don't know if you remember those.
Yeah.
Those are gorgeous cards. Like I love the artistic, kind of filter they put over those, and so forth. So that's fun. There's some plates that I'd like to track down, complete those collections. I'm always looking for more Infinity Gauntlet related comic clippings to put into the comic cut collection. That's kind of my main focus as far as those go. And like,
gotcha.
I have a couple of cover cuts I have the Psylocke. That's my biggest grail as far as the cover cuts went. I have the X-Men. What is it, 266?
Mm-hmm.
The first appearance of Psylocke as Psylocke.
Yeah.
As far as EPAC, I'm in and out. I'm doing some. I got a bunch of comics in there that I treat like cards. It's like the cover is a card, essentially. So to kind of collect that artist. So I do trading for those. I've dipped a little bit into the DC. DC is always interesting to me because I tend not to like the cards as much as I like the Marvel cards. But there's just as many DC characters and comics and like that I've read that I like and in some cases, I mean, like my favorite comic character of all time is Batman. It's just,
oh wow,
his cards aren't always that interesting.
Fair
like I find some of the, but like it was Batman Metal recently, right?
Yeah.
Some of the cards of those are some of the secondary characters I've been like throwing on my wish list and trading for a little bit, and poking about. But I'm not doing nearly as much on EPAC as I used to. The Marvel was the big draw on there. AEW, I got a bunch of stuff on there, and as the new sets come out, I watch for I've got 3 or 4 wrestlers from the AEW sets that I try and collect.
Gotcha.
So I'll see what cards they have. I'll see what people are looking for. If I've got stuff from old sets that I can trade for some of their newer cards and what so forth. I have not looked at the Topps Marvel stuff at all.
Okay.
Again, I'm not really buying right now. So
fair enough.
And it's not an EPAC where it's easy to trade for, and so
yeah.
So I'll keep a little bit of an idea of of what's out there, but if and when I start buying again, my first priority is going to be commissions, like we talked about, because
Gotcha.
sketch cards and the art is my main thing, and the other stuff, as cool as it all is, and there's I talk for hours with you guys about metal cards and comic cuts and the plexi cards. I love some of the clear and but my primary thing will always be the sketch cards.
Nice. I think I think while we've been talking, I didn't have a clue how to frame the episode or what it was going to be called, but I think I'm going to be calling this episode "Crossing the Streams."
Ooh,
nice.
I like that.
Nice. Yeah.
Because it kind of sums up, where you've got these different threads. I kind of picture it like
thoughts, you might say.
Well, yes, exactly. But I'm not gonna lift.
Yeah.
I mean, I could do that. I suppose.
But that's part of why my blog is called what it's called. Because, I said,
right.
I cover everything at all.
Almost like it was planned to be that way. There we go. Right. Okay. Well, I like that.
Mike, I gotta say, I thinking about what you said about Batman not having the same for a character that's plenty interesting, and you think about the opportunities sketch card wise, or even from you're building the base set. There seems to be so many things mind wise that you could do to make an amazing Batman card. Yet I think you're right. I have to agree. There haven't been that many interesting ones, unless you're talking about Simone.
It's all
Simone
basic
stuff.
Headshots.
Yeah, Simone's stuff of Batman was pretty incredible. Yes. Him hanging upside down with the bats, the vibrancy, the hyper realistic.
And artists do incredibly creative covers.
Sure.
With him, but it doesn't seem to translate,
at
least for me, to the cards a lot of the time.
The DC characters, the main hitters, I don't feel like they've had the same lineup of artists really taken shots at I don't know
That's
if
fair.
Batman's really had the depth of artists that Marvel and that your Wolverine,
Again,
Venom, Spider-Man.
as far as the card sets go.
Right.
Like,
So
well, that's
Jim
coming.
Lee's done a lot of great stuff on
Yeah.
Yes.
Batman.
that is
Yeah.
coming. You're right, Ian.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I opened up my Instagram this morning to see a post from Shane Rowe, Breakers Row. So he's obviously doing breaking. And he pulled on one of his rips this weekend a Tom Morgan Batman sketch card from Batman Metal.
Okay.
And it is the most dynamic looking thing. It's wonderful because it's an action shot,
I'll
full
check
body.
that out.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
that's
it
great.
looks amazing. It looks really good. I haven't got it queued up to show you, unfortunately, but it was yeah. And I looked at it, and Tom Morgan, as far as I'm aware, hasn't done sketch cards before this set. So hats off to Upper Deck for getting him. I mean, the guy's legendary. And if you don't know who Tom Morgan is, Fleer Ultra Avengers, that Silver Age insert set, that's him. Yeah.
Okay.
He also
Didn't he do?
I
he do this
did not
puzzle?
recognize the name.
Didn't Morgan do the puzzle as well? The 9-card puzzle?
No, that's Tom Fleming. So
That's
here's the
Fleming,
thing. Yeah, you got to be. Tom Morgan is no disrespect to Tom Fleming. Tom Morgan is a kind of a slightly different level. He's I think he's more mainstream Marvel, as in he's done like bookwork and covers. He is yeah, he's just really good. And his what else did he do for the boys
the
set?
Silver Age set was a nice parallel.
Yeah,
the art was beautiful.
Yeah, for the boys set recently, he did a chase set that was in the style of the Marvel Universe 19-1 of the boys characters, and it was it was printed obviously, but it wasn't sketch cards. But that they looked amazing. So yeah, he's really good. So that sketch card, I encourage you to seek out that post on Instagram. Are you on Instagram at all, Mike, or is it mainly a blog? Is that where you?
I am. I'm on
You
Instagram and Twitter both under the Xyon McKell name.
Okay, I should have known that on the Instagram.
I think I follow one of your accounts.
You
probably have more than one.
Mate, I've got 4 at the moment.
Okay.
And one that I don't. One of them I don't really use
I'm pretty
anymore.
sure I've seen something from you on Instagram, but yes, I
You
am
probably
on Instagram
have.
as Xyon McKell. I do share some hobby stuff. Instagram's not the best place for this, but I do make posts when I do new blog content.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And I do share a lot of hobby stuff on there, on and off. So yeah, there's a lot of collection pics on Instagram.
Well, I'll be tagging your Instagram ass when this post goes up, so you can probably get a few more followers. Mike, I'm going to let you go,
Okay.
and I'm going to have to head off into the sunset, largely because I really need a wee. But yeah, as you said, we could talk and show cards for hours and hours and hours, and maybe we'll revisit when Keith can make it, because I'm sure Keith would want to ask you and see a lot of your stuff. He kind of.
Oh yeah,
said,
I'd love to come back. Thank you guys so much for having me. Yeah, that sounds great. I'd love to talk to him.
Please do, Mike. Thank you. Listen, I know you've been a bit poorly this week, so look after yourself. I'm eagerly awaiting the next blog post. If anyone can help Mike out with that, Simu and his sister, is it Farla Chen, the actress?
No,
or am I thinking of the other one?
It's Manga.
It's the other one. There we go. Manga Zhang. That's it. Right. One of them. I collected the Night Adventures style.
Farla Chen was the mother, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. I collected the Night Adventures style, and one of the actresses signed in Mandarin.
That's great.
Beautiful. Looks really nice. It's such a nice card in hand as well. But anyway, thank you, Mike. I really appreciate you joining us.
Thank you guys.
Do you remember the sign off for the episodes?
Yes.
Because now's your time to launch it on the audience. So like and subscribe, folks. Like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Over to you, Mike.
Enjoy collecting.
You see,